regulations limit the number of hours you can work.
False.
Time spent filling out an accident report should be logged as on duty, not driving.
True.
You are required by federal law to follow either the 11-hour rule or the 14-hour rule. Whichever rule you follow depends on your company's policies.
True.
False.
False.
This is by law.
You are required by federal law. Company can't tell you what to follow, can they?
No.
Federal law. You are required to take a break every 24 hours.
False.
That's a new one. Most people get that, say true. If you're stuck in heavy traffic for more than 1 hour, you can log that as on duty, not. If you're stuck in heavy traffic for more than 1 hour, you can log that time as on duty, not driving.
False.
If you're behind the wheel.
That's right. The 70-hour rule states that you are allowed to drive if you have been on duty for 70 hours in the last 8 days.
False.
Well, yeah, you can do 70 in 8
You
days.
do
True.
70 and
Say that again.
That's false.
Read it again, please.
The 70-hour rule states that you are allowed to drive if you have been on duty for 70 hours in the last 8 days.
False.
False. If you fill out your recap sheet accurately, you will always know how many on-duty hours are available each day.
True.
That's right. If you have a part-time job, all time spent working at that job should be logged as on duty, not driving.
True.
You can combine two separate. Just a minute. You can combine two separate periods in a sleeper berth to get an 8-hour break, providing each period is 2 hours or longer.
False. They have to be
8 consecutive hours.
Right. The longest you can work in 1 day is 14 hours.
True.
False.
False.
It's 11 hours.
Remember?
You can only
Work
within-
and drive.
You can only drive within the first 14 hours.
But you can work
You only drive within
Yeah.
the first 11.
A continuous break of 2 hours off duty followed by 8 hours in the sleeper berth is a legal 10-hour break.
True.
A monthly recap will show if you are in violation of the 11 or 14-hour rule.
True.
False. That recap will not tell you if you're in violation of the 11 or 14-hour rule. The only thing that does is tell you how many hours you have available for the next day. Does everybody understand that? That recap sheet tells you nothing about the 11 or 14-hour rule. Only your logbook will tell you that. Okay? Oh, here's a good one. If it is snowing when you pick up a load, you are permitted to drive up to 13 hours before taking a 10-hour break.
False.
It's true. Because you're allowed 2 hours for bad weather conditions.
Okay. That question is false. And I'm going to tell you why. You're right. The problem is, in using that, what do we have everywhere that we hear in every public truck stop, everything?
Weather channels.
Weather channel. And if it's snowing when you pick up that load, it's not unforeseen circumstances, is it?
No.
And when you get on that, and when you listen to the weather, and if you're a good truck driver, what do you listen to all the time?
Weather.
Bad.
You listen to the weather. So even though it says in here you're allowed 2 extra hours if that load could have been, if that trip could have been completed on that day only. If I'm going from LA to Chicago, can I make that in 1 day?
No.
But if I load in Albuquerque and I'm coming to Liberal, can I make that in a day?
Yes.
Okay. So if it starts snowing from Albuquerque to here, and I don't know about it, it's unforeseen, I could have made it in 11 hours. I could extend my day 2 hours if I needed
You
to.
have to mark something in your logbook if that happens.
Bad weather, extending, but you can't extend that day, I don't care what, if you couldn't have delivered that load that day. Does everyone understand what I'm saying? You must be able to have delivered that load that day. Jess, if you're done, that's good. Thank you. The 14-hour rule states that you are not allowed to work after you've been on duty for 14 hours without a 10-hour break.
False.
In an emergency, the 14-hour rule can be extended so you can drive an additional 2 hours.
False.
False. Okay. Think we got it. Okay, one other thing I need to talk about just a little bit is the 100-mile air radius rule. And that rule is for people like JAG, J&R Sand, your Hostess Twinkie guy, your beer guys, stuff like that that make deliveries within a 100 air mile radius. If you are clocking in and clocking out at the same time every day, you still got to work, your 11-hour, 14-hour rule. And you never, ever cross that 100-mile radius, you do not have to run a logbook. Okay? But you have to have the records to prove it. You got to have time sheets or time records that show that every day you come to work at 8 o'clock and you're off at 5 o'clock, and that you come home every night and you leave every day. You follow what I'm saying? You can't just say, well, I'm not going to go 100 miles, I'm not going to run a logbook. You have to keep strict records to do that.
What if, like that's your normal deal every day, but then like once a year you have to go beyond?
Then you're in trouble. Even that once a year puts you out of it.
So would it be better to keep a log just in case?
I would say yes, but it really depends on your company. Your company will tell you what they want you to do.
Wouldn't that be good documentation to prove that you work those hours and that you?
Yeah. But see, like some companies, who's a good example? Swans. Swan guys come to work and go home. Some of them work longer hours than others. Where is that? Okay. The motor carrier, the employer, must maintain for 6 months showing the time the driver reports for duty each day, the time the driver is released from duty each day, the total number of hours the driver is on duty each day, and for drivers used for the first time or intermittently the total time the driver was on duty for the previous 7 days. So they still got to keep track of your time that you're out for the previous 7 days. They have to have time records for duty status. You must operate within 100 air miles of the normal working location. It comes out to about 115.8 miles on the road. Okay. Driver must return to work, reporting station and release from work within 12 consecutive hours. The driver must have at least 10 consecutive off duty between each 12 hours on duty, and the driver must not drive more than 11. So your 11 hours still stay, and what they've done is they've taken you from a 14-hour day to a 12-hour day.